This is the vlog for September 27th, 2018. I'm sick. I was sick last night and I'm sick today. It's just a little head cold, but it's left me feeling I'm thankfully not terribly stuffed up, but I can also feel a lot of irritation along my sinuses. Um, so I'm pretty sure it's some sort of minor sinus infection. Um, Maybe it's not. I don't know medicine terribly well. It's been sort of a weird day because it's been a lot of empowering women stories. Um, or rather, depressing women's stories with hope at the center of it all. Um, the woman who has accused Kavanaugh of sexually assaulting her when they were both college students, I think, spoke at a Senate Judiciary hearing today, leading up to the confirmation, or it's the confirmation hearing, I'm not sure exactly. But Republican support is strong for this guy, and it is a Republican Congress for the most part. She just seems really real and really honest with what she's saying. And I know that politically, the best idea for her opponents are to denounce her and say she's fabricating it or that she's coached or whatever. But it's just depressing because I think she definitely went through what she did. And to watch this man assume such absolute power in the world of law has got to be frustrating. I don't want to talk too much about that. I try not to be political on this channel. I'm more interested in the personal struggles of people, which is why it was sort of interesting. It's still being watched downstairs, but there's a documentary on Jane Fonda. Now, there's a character. Actress, health advocate, and general advocate in general for rights and just an inspiration to a lot of people, and just a person whose life is full of stories. I think it's very interesting. It gives me a lot of newfound respect. I always thought she was sort of like, I don't know, not a ditz. She's too clever for that, but she sort of the ultimate bubbly girl. I don't know. I've met a lot of people who had a lot of energy in their lives, who meant well, but didn't seem to have the focus to do any one thing really well because they were always jumping from one thing to another thing to another thing. And that's what Jane Fonda reminds me of on a much grander scale, with all the money and prestige and fame that somebody in her position has, and able to actually turn that bubbly personality into a real force for good and a real help for a lot of people. And, I wouldn't say I was critical of her because I didn't know enough about her to be really critical. I didn't think much about her. But anybody that can put up with Ted Turner for 10 years has got to be some kind of saint anyway. She seems really cool. She seems like the kind of person that'd be neat to go to a party to, or go to a party of. If she was hosting a party, I would want to go just to be like, yeah, I went to the Jane Fonda party. Yeah. But, yeah, the rest of my day was very much just lazing about. I tried to get a bit of writing done. Not as much as I would have liked. But I have gotten a lot of Warframe out of my system. That's good. It is addictive. And as somebody that has spent over $200 on it in the last 2 weeks, I think it has taken up too much of my time and too much of my money now, and I may need to definitely limit my future. Well, there's no way I'm going to need to buy anything for a while. That's clear. It's going to be months before I run this platinum out. So I just have to be careful and not just start spending it, loosely and easily. Be careful. Get the stuff that they want or can't otherwise get, and just take it easy on the other stuff. But it's a good thing that it's getting to be done, because a week from today, or tomorrow rather, a week from tomorrow, Assassin's Creed Odyssey comes out, and I've only played a little bit of Assassin's Creed games. The most Assassin's Creed exposure I've gotten was playing a lot of Ezio in Soul Calibur 4, or 5, Soul Calibur 5. I played maybe a fourth of the first one, and that was after the second one was already out. I was going to play through the first one, play through the next one, and they just started releasing so many of these games that I could not keep up. And I just gave up before I even finished the first one. So, thankfully, they don't have that much story tying them together anymore. I mean, they have a theme. Well, one thing that's sort of weird is that they started in the Middle Ages, and then they moved forward to the Renaissance, they moved forward to the American Revolution, then they moved back to the Age of Sail, and eventually back to ancient Egypt, and now they're in ancient Greece, which is a little bit further forward from that. So it's, back and forth. Importantly, and this is sort of silly, but it does tie into what I was talking about earlier. Importantly, this one has a female protagonist that you can play either as a male or a female character. And I really prefer female leads in video games. Why is that? Well, it is slightly sexist, I guess. But let me put it to you this way. So often the male main character of a video game just looks like a guy that's supposed to win by default. You look at the Doom Marine, or the Slayer as he's sometimes called now. You look at characters like Nathan Drake. Nathan Drake isn't quite as, strong and tough, but he's just looks like the main character of a movie, and the main character of the movie always wins. You look at Kratos from God of War. Now, he's not somebody that really wins in the end, but he does look like he's going to beat everybody that he comes across. On the flip side of that, you have these female characters like Lara Croft in the reimagined Tomb Raider. I'm going to get back to that in a second. Or the characters from Life is Strange. Max is the main character. I think her name is Max. Characters like... there's another one I was thinking of. But they're characters with room to grow. They don't start off as super heroic badasses that are just going to, go in there and do it. Sometimes they are. Lara Croft from the original games, just with, running around with her dual pistols, did not seem like she was in any way going to lose or be beaten. Samus Aran from Metroid, my favorite game series of all time, is definitely a badass, but she's gone through different sorts of experiences, and sometimes she feels a lot more vulnerable than others. Mostly anytime she didn't have her suit on in Other M, she was very vulnerable. But not all badasses are bad, and not all vulnerable characters are automatically great. But I like the idea of a woman going in and kicking ass in a role that is generally occupied by men, because that's just more interesting. It's a little bit different. It puts a little spin on something that I haven't seen a lot of. And so I think it's Cassandra is the name of the female protagonist from Odyssey. If I do pick that game up, that is the version I'll be playing. but we'll see. We've got a lot of stuff, and like a week or two after, well, a week after Odyssey comes out, Fallout 76 comes out, and I think a week after that is Soul Calibur 6. So October is going to be a little bit nuts for games, and I still got Spider-Man that I haven't played much of. But in the end, I'm glad that Warframe is starting to run its course in my system, because I need to move into some other stuff now. Anyway, I really, really hope tomorrow I'm feeling good enough to go to work. I'd rather get in 3 days of work this week than 2.5. Anyway, I'm Eric Spornitz, and tomorrow will be better.